40,000 years ago, in a cave in what is now Gibraltar, a small group of Neanderthals lit a fire. They ate, they slept, they held each other against the cold. They had survived ice ages, volcanic winters, waves of disease. They had lived on this planet for over 400,000 years, longer than modern humans have existed at all. And yet, within a few thousand years, almost nothing in geological time, every single one of them was gone. What happened to the Neanderthals is one of the most debated questions in all of science. And what we have discovered in the last decade does not just change the answer, it changes the question entirely. What you are about to hear is not the story of a failed species. The Neanderthals were not primitive. They were not simply outcompeted by a smarter version of themselves. That story, the one most people learned in school, is wrong. In this episode, you will understand three things that most people never get told. First, who the Neanderthals actually were at their peak. Not the hunched, dim-witted creatures of old textbooks, the real version. Second, what the latest DNA evidence tells us about how they ended. And it is not what you think. And third, why a part of them did not die at all. Why, if you are reading this outside of sub-Saharan Africa, somewhere between 1 and 4% of your DNA is Neanderthal. They are not gone. They are in you. This is their story. The Neanderthals emerged in Europe and Western Asia roughly 400,000 years ago, descended from an earlier species called Homo heidelbergensis, and from the beginning, they were built for a world of extremes. Their bodies were stocky and powerful, wider than ours, with thick bones and enormous lung capacity. In the brutal cold of Ice Age Europe, this was not a limitation. It was a superpower. Their barrel chests conserved heat that would have killed a modern human. Their brains were, on average, slightly larger than ours. They made tools, not crude rocks, but a sophisticated toolkit called the Mousterian industry, shaped through a complex technique that required planning, memory, and teaching. You cannot learn it by accident. Someone has to show you. They hunted mammoths, woolly rhinoceroses, cave bears 3 times the size of a modern grizzly, not by driving them off cliffs, by stalking them, coordinating, closing to spear range, and holding their ground. We have found Neanderthal skeletons with healed injuries identical to those of modern rodeo riders. Broken ribs, fractured skulls, healed meaning someone cared for them. Someone kept them alive through weeks of recovery. They buried their dead. We have found flowers placed in graves, ochre pigments on bones, shells worn as jewelry. These were not animals, they were people. But here is what no textbook tells you about why they disappeared. The answer was hiding in a cave in Siberia, and it was not found by archaeologists. It was found by a geneticist with a single finger bone. For most of their existence, Neanderthals never encountered modern humans at all. Homo sapiens evolved in Africa. The Neanderthals owned Europe and Western Asia. For hundreds of thousands of years, they were separated by geography, climate, and distance. Then, approximately 45,000 years ago, modern humans arrived in Europe. And for a period of perhaps 5,000 to 10,000 years, the blink of an eye in evolutionary time, 2 species of human shared the same continent. The old story said modern humans won a war, that we were smarter, faster, better with language, better with tools, and that we simply replaced the Neanderthals the way one civilization replaces another. The new story is stranger, and in some ways darker. In 2010, the geneticist Svante Pääbo and his team at the Max Planck Institute sequenced the Neanderthal genome for the first time. What they found stunned the scientific world. Modern humans and Neanderthals had not just competed, they had interbred. The DNA was there, woven into the genomes of every living person with ancestry outside of Africa. Between 1 and 4% of your genome traces directly back to Neanderthal, individuals who had children with early modern humans, tens of thousands of years ago. These were not isolated incidents. Geneticists now estimate there were multiple contact events across different regions over thousands of years, which raises an uncomfortable question. If we interbred, if there were Neanderthal human children, and those children survived and their descendants are alive today, then in what sense did the Neanderthals go extinct at all? Were they absorbed, assimilated? Did their populations simply become too small, too fragmented, until the last few communities dwindled away while their genes lived on in us? We do not know for certain. What we do know is that the last confirmed evidence of Neanderthal habitation, that cave in Gibraltar, dates to approximately 40,000 years ago. After that, the archaeological record goes silent. But the silence is not what most people think it is, because the latest genetic research has found something in the Neanderthal DNA inside you, something that is still working, still shaping who you are, right now, today. Here is what the Neanderthal DNA inside you is doing. Some of it helped your ancestors survive. Neanderthals had spent 400,000 years adapting to the cold, the pathogens, the specific diseases of Eurasia. When modern humans arrived from Africa, they encountered all of that for the first time. The Neanderthal genes they carried away from those encounters were, in many cases, immunological gifts. Variants that helped fight off infections the African migrants had never faced. Some researchers believe Neanderthal DNA may have been critical to the survival of early modern humans in Europe and Asia, but not all of it is beneficial. Some Neanderthal gene variants have been linked in modern research to increase susceptibility to depression, blood clotting disorders, and certain autoimmune conditions. The same genes that helped a Neanderthal survive the Ice Age can, in a warm, sedentary, modern human, create problems their original owner never faced. You carry both, the gifts and the costs. The adaptations, shaped by 400,000 years of European winters, passed to you through a child born somewhere on a Eurasian plain, 40,000 years ago. Think about what that means. The Neanderthals did not simply disappear. Their story did not end in that cave in Gibraltar. It continued in the children of those contact events, in every generation that followed across 40,000 years of human history, down to this moment. When we ask what happened to the last Neanderthal, the most honest answer is this: they became part of us. The last Neanderthal is not a skeleton in a cave somewhere. The last Neanderthal is a fraction of a genome. Millions of fractions distributed across billions of living people, still doing its work, still affecting how you respond to cold, to disease, to the world. They survived, just not in the way anyone expected. If this changes how you think about human history, if it changes how you think about what it means to be human, that is exactly what it is supposed to do. Subscribe to follow the complete human journey through deep time. Next episode, the Denisovans, a species we did not even know existed until 2010, whose DNA now turns up in populations across Asia and the Pacific. A ghost species that left almost no trace in the fossil record, but whose genes may have allowed modern humans to survive at altitude, and whose full story is only just beginning to be told.